Well, hot damn. I just got in the house after making this video, and I realized I left my 1990s kid standard issue bangs hanging down across my forehead. I think every kid from the 90s come with bangs that just want to hang down on the front. As y'all can tell, I'm not one who really cares about their appearance. I'm sure you've caught on to that. But damn, I hate my bangs. I don't know why. I just hate them. 5,000 subscribers. I could at least fix my hair for y'all. Damn it. The road's very busy today, so hopefully I don't pick up too much of that. Like I said, we just hit 5,000 subscribers. That's awesome. Thank you guys. I appreciate all the support. It's been a long journey, but 5,000 is a decent number in my opinion. So speaking of subscribers, I just found this note, and this is from a subscriber, Billy Hong, and he pretty much just said he loves the channel. He wouldn't mind drinking a beer, hanging out. He's actually from Australia. He had an international quite a while ago and still had this decal, said he no longer needed it, and he sent this to me. He sent this a long time ago, and I made a different video where I said thank you in it, and I realized that video never got posted. It never made the cut. So I never told Billy thank you, which is very rude of me. So thank you, Billy. I appreciate it. When anyone sends me stuff like that, I always appreciate it, and I'll try to give you guys a shout out. So I was kind of at a weird point on the Travelall because it was hard to make progress because I didn't want to throw the front end on because Randy was reworking my wiring harness. So let's hop up at the front of this motor and I'll show you what's all going on now. So our brake lines are all finished up. If you remember, I said I needed more clamps and a new line for over here. We got all that, obviously. And then intake manifolds on, fuel rails are on. Basically everything on the top of the motor's on. Guys, this stuff, it actually goes together pretty simple. I'll be honest, I've never had all this crap apart. I believe Randy's the one who even took it apart during our tear down. There's a couple knock sensors that go underneath your intake. So I did new knock sensors and a new cam sensor on the top side before putting the intake on. And then the fuel rails, the coil brackets with our coils and everything, and all this stuff. I just cleaned it up, sprayed it down with like 409 and wiped it with rags, cleaned it up as best as possible. I did use a little bit of steel wool on the valve covers, but I kind of just wanted a factory look. Now also, obviously you can see we got our AC compressor mounted. This is a Holley kit, and when you buy this Holley kit, you have to buy this main bracket, and then you have to buy the proper adapter kit with that includes the brackets that space this out, because that main bracket can work with all the different LS motors. So you have to buy this, then you have to buy that, and then it utilizes a 97 Corvette tensioner, so then you have to buy that, and by the time you get done, you've got close to $400 into a bracket. But this bracket, the way they machine it, you really can't see a lot of it because of this tensioner now. It actually really matches the pattern on this side, so when you get done, it kind of looks like a factory bracket. It does stick out a little bit, but I think it's the best option for kind of keeping a factory look, so that's what I decided to go with. And this compressor is the Sandin 709, which I believe has 2 extra pistons in it compared to the Sandin 508, which is what we need since we're running front and rear heat and air. And then the wiring harness is on. So Randy did a really good job of getting that stuff tucked down in there, where when you're really looking at it from over here, you mainly just see the pigtails for the coils and the pigtails for the fuel injectors. These wires right here will be going to our MAF, but we're going to try to convert mine to a different style, so we're not going to wrap these up yet. And then this green wire here, I need to solder it in for our AC clutch. It'll connect right there. And there's a few things to still hook up. The temp sender will be swapping the factory one for the computer from the front to the back, and then up here on the front I'll be putting the sender for my gauges. So I need to swap that back there. A few little things like that left to do out here, but everything up here worked out real good. I had to order a couple things like this little fuel or vacuum line for our regulator there. I was missing it. But all in all, the wiring turned out really good. Other than those few loose wires, the last thing I need to do is build my power wire, which will run from the starter up around the front of the motor and come up over to the battery. And then out of it, I need to add a wire that'll come up and connect to our alternator so we stay charging. Basically the positive 12 volt constant battery stuff I still need to do out here, but I kind of want the battery in place when I finalize it. That way I can make it as clean as possible. The original plan was to use all this factory stuff, but with as clean as this all turned out over here, I don't have the heart to throw that ugly junction box on the front of it. I'm really happy with how all this turned out. And in the inside, in a minute, you'll see I started running the body harness already. So all these wires are the ones that'll be coming up for our headlights and turn signals, stuff like that. And then I already have the rear lights, fuel pump, and some of the wires going to the rear AC already ran to the very back of the Travelall. So once I get done building the battery cables out here, there's really not that much left to do on the motor. We need to throw on both the dipstick for the transmission, for the engine itself. And I wish I could have recorded some, but guys, I had a good week and a half where it was hard for me to be consistent out here and get a lot of stuff done. The stuff is not overly complicated. I've never had one of these apart before, and I managed to put it all together myself. And anything you have a specific on, I guarantee you someone's made a YouTube video about it. So other than me needing to get some shorter plug wires, because I ordered these extremely long ones for some reason, and clean up our cover here, I'd say out here we're pretty well done as far as on the engine specific, other than our couple loose wires. So now let's move to the inside and I'll show you the wiring in there, because it's not near as pretty. Oh yeah, I had to put a new throttle body on it too. This one's extremely pitted. I think it quit being a throttle body for a while to go be a scuba diver. And it looks like it sat underneath water to me. The truck ran pretty damn good before we pulled it apart. I'm not gonna worry about it. We're gonna send it. If the motor messes up, takes a crap, whatever, we'll put a new one in it. So here's our LS harness. This thing will have its own fuse harness there, 2 relays that power all of it. Everything kind of messed up and bunched up over there is the body harness. So now that I have this coming in here, I can start to really route stuff and clean it up as best as possible. I did build a support up there that fuse holder and relays will mount to. I know I told you guys about pushing out the defrost vents. I built these little things, and it actually allows me a little adjustability where I can pull that down at peak and have it pushed too far back, or you can adjust it up a little bit. So that should let me tune up that defrost a little bit. And we're not going to get really into the details of this wiring, because to be honest, I'm just way too far gone for that. The computer, it will mount up underneath the dash with this goofy looking brace I built, but it gets it where we need it. I cannot remember what that little guy is called there, but that's basically what the electronic throttle pedal wires into, and it mounts up on the brake support as well. Here's the deal with the wiring. I never planned on actually using the factory wiring harness from the LS motor. It's one of those things for me where I know I can figure it out, but I don't want to spend the time and research and everything to figure it out to do one, because I don't plan on doing a lot of wiring harnesses for LS swaps. Randy, on the other hand, does. He really enjoys doing that stuff. He's already, since building mine, he's built a couple other harnesses, and he has a few projects lined up himself where he's utilizing factory harnesses in every build. So he told me he wanted to do my harness. Hey guy, I'm not gonna argue with you. I like the idea of it. Saved me about 500 bucks, you know? So if you guys want to figure this stuff out, if you have the time to do it, you can do it on lt1swap.com. That guy has great breakdowns of all the pinouts for everything. And if you understand this kind of stuff, you can use everything he has on his website. You can figure it out for sure. He has good videos too. So for me, it just wasn't worth it. For Randy, it was. I'm glad it's working out this way, because now I'll get to keep cruise control and a couple other things that I probably wouldn't have used with the aftermarket harness. Bye bye. Have a good day, baby. As far as the body harness, this thing is the Speedway 22 circuit kit, which honestly is super overkill. It comes with good prints. As you see, I'm making changes to mine anyways, but there's so much that this thing can do. Honestly, it's overcomplicated for me. I like it because it comes with like the headlight switch, the dimmer switch, a bunch of other stuff, and you can get it for like 180 bucks. Usually if you buy a cheap harness and the switches, you're gonna be pushing 150 bucks anyways. So I usually use that one. It does leave it where I can leave extra wires, where if I ever want to add anything in the future, it's already fused in there. I can just add it in, which is why I like to go that route. I use the exact same harness on my truck, and I've had zero issues with it. It's been a good harness. That's where I decided to mount the rear AC kit. I did change up the vintage air wiring harness. I shortened some of it, probably voided my warranty. And the main thing I did for this was add this bundle of wires that runs through here, all the way up through here, which there was a little cross support, so I had to drill a hole and get the wires up through, and they run all the way up there. Hopefully I won't pick up too much light here, but up here we have the rear controls for the blower, excuse me, the blower, the mode switch, and the heat. Unfortunately, we cannot control the air conditioning up there. And we cannot control the air conditioning up there because we have a capillary tube. And I would show you guys, but I can't find it. Capillary tube. I found it. So this is our thermostat, basically. Not basically, it is. And that capillary tube has to push down in here. That means you can't get it any further away than what we have right here, which I think they said is like 42 inches if you unravel all that. Your 12 volt signal will come out of here and goes to your clutch to engage it. So here's why that's not really such a big deal to me. If it's hot out, I have the air conditioning as cold as it'll go. I never blend it to maybe, hey, a slightly warm cool air or cool warm air. I don't do that crap. It's either gonna be ice cold or not on. So I may turn the blower speed down, but I'm never gonna turn the temperature down. So during the summer, whenever it's hot, I think it's just gonna be on full blast. When I make it to the months where it gets cold, I'll come back here and turn it off. And we can control the heat from up there. So it won't really be a big deal. I think I'll probably have maybe 10 to 15 days throughout a year where maybe in the morning it's cold, and then, in the morning where it's really cold, and then by the time it makes it to the afternoon it's hot, and I would utilize it. But honestly, at that point I probably won't even use the rear unit. I'll probably just use the front unit for heat in the morning, and then the air conditioner will still be on back here for in the afternoon. There is a solenoid shutoff valve that cuts off the refrigerant, so if this unit specifically is not on, it cannot freeze up the evaporator. And there'll be quite a bit of wires to run down to my center console that I kind of showed you guys previously. These three are the AC, heater, all the controls for the front unit right here. I cut out that square, which is a charge port for cell phones, and check engine lights going down here, and probably cruise control buttons. So I will have quite a bit of wires running from underneath the dash down to this thing in the future. I don't think I mentioned it, but the wires for the transmission are also in the harness, all the factory stuff. Just throw that in there real quick. All those wires are ran down. They're sitting on the ground right now. I need to get underneath there and get them on the transmission and tied up however need be for the wiring to look good on them as well. And I don't think I mentioned that Once I get all the wiring done in the dash and tucked up, you won't be able to see any of it, the computer or whatever, when the dash is in. So let's take a look at the dash. I previously painted this the brown color. I know if you've been watching, you have seen it. What I don't think you did see was the fact that it reactivated the old peanut brittle color, and it wrinkled everywhere, and I had to sand this thing down again, prime it, let it sit, and then paint it again. So this thing's brown for the final time. I had 2 monster holes right there, and one up there that were 7/8 that I had to shave and body work. And this is the color I've decided on for our insert pieces. And also with the glove box, I had to shave a couple holes on it for the emblem because mine's in really bad shape, and I'm not even gonna spend the time or money to try to find one. I still need to get it painted though. I don't know if I ever updated anyone, but I did have the sandblaster come to my house, and we sandblasted all my parts. Damn bikes, that's why they're not allowed in the shop. Fender wells, that sheet metal cover, not this is a piece of plastic. I'm just gonna go with this for our under dash vents from Vintage Air. I actually like how that thing looks. It'll get painted brown, but a lot of little miscellaneous metal stuff. Guys, I'm plumb burnout on cleaning stuff up, so I had my sandblaster come sandblast it. When he was here, I took the front clip to him also, and we kicked it up and we sandblasted all this stuff in here. Not in a way to damage the outside. If there was any old undercoating, we left it, but all the loose stuff we knocked off. I was worried about kind of following this, and I was planning on painting from there over really nice, but I got to thinking about it, and my radiator goes up to this edge. My fender wells come right there. I'm not gonna care about painting that tiny little strip some pretty color, so I'm gonna get another can of this undercoating stuff and just finish coating the whole front of all this stuff, because realistically you're not gonna see it. So we're saving a ton of work like that, not having to get in and clean up all this crap. By the time you do that, if you had to do the bottom of the hood, if you had to do all those parts, your day's into cleaning parts. Don't mind my badass hood. I know someone's laughing at it. I ran out of paint, I ran out of primer. All 3 of those are Van Sickle paint, so I know it's gonna do a good job of protecting it, but it looks like crap right now. I need to get, when I get paint for this stuff, I'll tape it off and do it one nice coat. I didn't want it to flash rust, so give me a break. Well, that's pretty well everything that's got done. I have been, like I said, over a 2 to 3 week period, a little bit all over the place. Really, I was just trying to stall as long as possible to not put too much crap on it, to make Randy's job as easy as possible for him. Me and Randy work opposite shifts. He works nights, I work days. We're 12 hours. When I go home, he gets to work, vice versa. So sometimes it's hard for us to link up because he always has stuff going on just like I do. So now that that's on, I think we'll start moving fairly quick. I'm gonna wrap up the wiring inside to the rear. We'll get the dash in. We can then start putting all of our accessories in the dash, gauges, headlight switch, wiring up the windshield wiper, stuff like that. Run all of our wires to our center console, and our front AC unit should go fairly quick. Once all the wiring's done, I'll throw the front clip on. When the front clip's on, there is a little bit of body work to do on some of the sheet metal parts, but body work, painting the parts, luckily they're already cleaned up. They just need scuff and shop for the most part. And we'll get the front clip thrown on, radiator, condenser, trans cooler, power steering cooler, all that stuff should go fairly quick. And I don't think it'll be too much longer before we have this thing to the point where we can at least fire it up and pull it in and out of the shop. That don't mean the build will be done, but I think we can have them moving under its own power fairly quick. Other things that will kind of slow us down, that's just a little finicky, picky crap. Deciding how I want to do the stereo in it, where I'm going to put the speakers, stuff like that, because I get really picky about how stuff looks and I don't want to just stick out like a sore thumb. Window felts, sills, that stuff. Deciding where I want to put the dome lights, all that little kind of crap. Stuff like that will still take a while because I know I'll overcomplicate it, but we're still getting pretty close, guys, on the Travelall build. Well, that's it for this video. I know it's a lot of talking. You guys would rather see working. I apologize, but if y'all can't tell by now, whenever I get kind of backed in the corner and I'm all over the place and feel like I'm not getting nothing done, I try to get as much done as possible, and then I make an update video. I've kind of noticed that in my history on YouTube. And speaking of YouTube, once again, 5,000 subscribers. Thank you guys for watching, coming back, subscribing, commenting, liking, sharing. If you do any of that stuff, I appreciate it, you guys. I'm on Instagram at Puddin's Fab Shop if you guys want to give me a follow. And I'll see you guys next time. And can I just say real quick that I really hated this motor once I painted it black, but I wasn't willing to change it. But now that I see it all together, I actually like how it looks. I like the little bit of contrast from the compressor, cleaned up alternator, clean throttle body, the valve covers. I think this thing looks good. Randy did a great job tucking the wiring. Once I get some shorter spark plug wires, I believe this thing will look like they made 4.8 and kind of half-ass cared about the appearance. Kind of looks factory to me, and I'm really digging how it looks. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you next time, and don't forget, sitting on your ass won't finish your project. I'll see you guys next time.